Hi, I'm Irene, and welcome to Progressive Splits Training. Today, we'll be doing a class that focuses on activating, strengthening, and stretching your hamstrings and your glutes. You might need 2 blocks, and that's about it. When you're ready, meet me laying down on your back. Take a few moments to hug your knees in. You can give yourself a little rock and roll or a little squeeze, anything you like to do to start your practice. Today's class will be quite a bit of hard work, focusing mostly on strengthening the areas mentioned, the hamstrings and the glutes, but we will be doing a little bit of stretching as well. When you're ready, plant your feet flat on the mat, setting up for a bridge pose, feet about hips width distance, and then walk your feet a little bit further away from you so that they are not stacked underneath the knees. Do a quick sit-up to check your alignment, make sure your feet are actually parallel and about hips width apart. From here, lay your shoulders down, relax your arms by your sides. Take a deep breath in. And a deep breath out. Scoop your tailbone under, begin to lift from the pelvis, then the lower back, and then the middle back until you've lifted up into a relatively straight line, closing off through the front side of the body. Pause here at the top, and then slowly lower back down. One more time like that. Scoop the tailbone under, lift all the way up into your straight line, no back bend, and then lower back down to the mat, adding on. Bring your feet together, walk your feet even further away from you so you're in a very open bridge pose position, and then flex your feet so just the heels drive down. Same thing, scoop the tailbone under, lift all the way up. You'll notice you can't lift quite as high when your legs are further away from you. That's totally normal. From here, drive down through the left foot and see if you can hover the right foot off of the mat and then place it back down. Push down through the right heel and then see if you can lift the left foot and then place it back down. Continue on at your own pace with this marching bridge pose. Try to keep your hips high throughout the exercise. You'll notice they might lower a little bit as you lift one leg, but do your best to keep them lifted. If it becomes too much to lift a leg, just work on shifting the weight slightly, even if the heel doesn't lift all the way. We'll be here for about 30 more seconds. Continue on at your own pace. The foot does not need to lift super high, just a few inches off of the mat. Firing up the hamstrings, firing up the glutes. One more time each side. And then pause at the top and slowly lower yourself down. One more exercise here. I know you're learning to love your bridge poses. Walk your feet further away from you and then again flex your feet. As you get more confident with this exercise, you can walk your feet further and further away until your legs are either straight or almost straight. For today, keep them at least a little bit bent, and then again, scoop your tailbone under, lift up into this really low bridge pose, hold. Drive your heels down, and then almost pretend like you are going to squeeze your heels toward your shoulders, actively contracting the hamstrings. Hold for 3, 2, and 1. Slowly release back down to the mat and bend your legs. Now let's do the opposite thing with the lower back. So instead of smushing the lower back down toward the mat or tucking the tailbone under, see if you can create a little bit of an arch by finding a bit of anterior pelvic tilt. So it's as if you could slip your hands underneath your lower back. We've done this exercise before, or you will see this exercise again depending on what classes you've taken. Lift your right thigh into your chest, interlace your hands, press the right thigh away from you. From here, see if you can straighten and bend the leg a few times, keeping your foot pointed. Maintain the arch in the lower back, only straightening the leg as much as is comfortable here. If you are more flexible, you can bring the leg in closer toward you and have the elbows be a little bit more bent. 3, 2, 1. Pause with your leg straight or as straight as it will comfortably go. Hold here for 3, 2, and 1. Maintain this arch in the lower back, and now see if you can interlace your hands behind your right leg. Create some opposition here, so pulling with your hands while still pushing your leg away from you and maintaining that arch in the lower back. Keep your foot pointed. Hold here, pushing and pulling for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, relax, maintain the arch in the lower back, see if you can walk your hands further up your leg. If not, no worries. Keep your hands where they're comfortable, and again, if your leg doesn't straighten all the way, that's okay. One more time, push your hands into your leg back into your hands, and hold. Shoulders away from the ears, arch in the lower back. Hold. 3, 2, and 1. Relax, keep that little bit of arch in the lower back, and then let the arch disappear, and notice how your leg will come closer toward you. So keeping the arch in the lower back makes this isolate the hamstrings more. When we take the arch away, it allows the lower back to do some work as well. It's useful to do both. Hold here for 3, 2, and 1. Gently release the right leg back down to the mat. Find the arch in your lower back again, and then lift the left thigh in toward your chest. Interlace your hands, press your hands into your thigh. Keep your left foot and ankle pointed, and then a few times bend and straighten, as straight as is comfortable without finding too deep of a stretch. If you are feeling more flexible today, you can bring that thigh in closer to you, bending the elbows a little bit more. We'll be here for 3, 2, last one, straighten the leg and pause, hold, push with your hands, push with your leg. 3, keep the arch in your lower back. 2, and 1. Keep your leg where it is, just interlace your hands behind your leg this time. Same idea of opposition, pulling with your hands and pushing with your leg. Create that activity, keeping the toe pointed. Keep the arch in your lower back and hold here. Breathing deeply, shoulders away from the ears, pushing and pulling. 3, 2, 1. Relax the leg. See if it will come a little bit more toward you while still maintaining the arch in the lower back. Potentially move your hands higher up the leg, just an option. And then same thing, push and pull simultaneously, creating strength in the arms and the leg, holding here. Shoulders down, deep breathing, relax your face. Hold. 3, maintain the arch in the lower back. 2, and 1, relax the leg, let the arch flatten in the lower back and bring your leg a little bit more in toward you, whatever is comfortable for you today. Hold this position and just take a few breaths here. You can still find strength in the leg, pushing gently against the hands, or you can relax depending on what feels good for you. I often like to alternate between the two. We'll be here for 3, 2, and 1. Release. Flip all the way over onto your abdomen. Okay, so something I've noticed, especially when it comes to yoga practitioners, is that we spend a lot of time lengthening our hamstrings and not that much time actively contracting our hamstrings with this idea of keeping the heel in toward the glute. This is really useful not just for overall hamstring strength, but if you ever have dreams of being able to bring your feet to your head in something like a scorpion or any position like that, king cobra, etc., this is really important. It's also important to be able to keep your hamstrings safe, because the stronger your hamstrings are, the less likely it will be that you could potentially injure yourself while doing deeper stretching. Of course, that's just an idea. Who knows if it will really protect you, but for me, it's made a lot of sense for my body. From this position, you have two options. I'm going to stay upright because it's easier for me to talk, but I do recommend for you to stack your hands and bring your forehead down onto your hands. Either way, the most important part of this exercise is to tuck your tailbone under as if you're trying to create space underneath the lower abdominals. This is going to help lengthen the lower back and keep your exercise in the glutes and hamstrings and not as much in the lower back muscles. So again, you can be up in a sphinx position or down, resting your head on your hands. From here, lift your right leg, bend it halfway, flex your foot, heel toward the ceiling. Keep both hip bones down on the mat the entire time you do this exercise. From here, lift your heel toward the ceiling, your knee will also lift, and then point your foot and squeeze your heel in toward your glute as much as possible. If you are upright, you can look back and make sure your knee is not winging out to the side too much. You want it just barely wider than the hip. Okay, from here, straighten your leg all the way. Squeeze your leg super straight, tuck your tailbone under, both hip bones stay down. And then again, bend your leg in, squeeze your heel in towards your glute as much as you can without cramping. Hold, and then straighten. We'll do this 5 times. Again, squeeze it in, straighten it out, squeeze it straighter, squeeze it in, take it out. We'll call that 3, in, and out. 4, last time, squeeze it in, hold. Lift the knee a little higher, both hip bones stay down. Tuck the tailbone under, 3, 2, 1, and then straighten the leg as much as possible. Lift the leg as high as you can. Keep the hip bone down. Hold. 3, 2, and 1. Release. You can take a little shimmy through the hips, and we'll switch it out to the other side. If you start to notice that your lower back is bothering you here and you are upright on your forearms, that's your cue to stack your hands and lower all the way down. Okay, second side. Bend your left leg, flex your foot, heel toward the ceiling. Relax your right leg. From here, lift your left leg up, hover the knee. Point your foot, bend your leg as much as you can. Squeeze your heel in. You can take a moment to look at your knee if you are upright and make sure it's not too far out to the side. Holding here, and then straighten your leg out all the way. Lift it higher, keep the hip bone down. Lengthen the lower back. Bend it in, and straighten it out. 1, in, and out. 2, in, super strong the whole time. Out. 3, in, out. 4, in, squeeze and hold. Hold, hold, higher, straighten, lift it higher, straighter. 3, 2, and 1. Release. Whew, take a second, you can shimmy out through the hips. If you want to windshield wiper the legs side to side for a moment, you can. Great. From here, transition up. Little crick crack, and then sit off to one side, and let's find our way for our seated straddle good morning. So now we just contracted the hamstrings quite a bit, and now we'll stretch them into a lengthened position, also working on strength here. So you've likely done this exercise before. Hands can either be by your sides, on your hips, or behind your head. Find that little bit of anterior pelvic tilt, tilting your tailbone back behind you. Point your feet and strengthen your legs, driving them down toward the mat. Inhale here, and exhale, hinge your way down, keeping a broad chest and long spine. Rise back up a few times on your own. Notice how your hamstrings feel. We've already done quite a bit of hamstring work, so they might be feeling it. As you're ready, you could transition to have your hands in a different position. And if you've been taking this class for a while, or these classes for a while, and you do want more, option to reach the arms overhead for even more weight. Only do that if you can keep your spine long as you're doing the exercise. The next time you lower yourself down, pause. Option to reach your arms out to the sides for a little bit more weight, but not too much. Or again, you can reach the arms forward for maximum weight. Drive the legs down into the mat and hold. 3, 2, and 1. Release yourself down and find about 30 seconds to stretch here. If you'd like different options, you could potentially use blocks underneath your hands, walking the blocks forward, or of course you could support yourself with the blocks in a much more comfortable position. Take a few breaths here. If there are any added movements that you'd like to take, feel free. Strong legs, or alternating, driving them down and releasing to see if that helps you get a little bit lower. For 3, 2, and 1. Slowly rise back up. You can walk your blocks back in and then again move them off to the side. And now let's do a little bit more stretching. Bring your legs toward the top of the mat and then bend your left leg halfway like a tree pose or Janu Shirshasana. We are going to keep the foot pointed. You're welcome to flex it if you'd like. I much prefer a pointed foot for these things. So the first thing we'll do is take about 30 seconds in a passive stretch, which means you can use your blocks in any way that feels good and just relax over the right leg. Even though I call this a passive stretch, for me personally, I don't do much stretching at all, completely passive. So I'm still finding some strength in the leg. It's just not maximum effort. Keep the spine long, and you can fold either directly over the right leg, or sometimes I like to fold slightly to the inside of it. It feels a little bit more natural for the hips. Same thing here. If you wanted, you could reach the blocks forward. Sometimes I like to stretch the toe point, curling the toes down toward the mat, stretching through the top of the foot. Got a few more moments here. Next, we're going to do some functional range conditioning style stretching. It's not really stretching, it's more so strengthening, but it's a really great way to find more mobility in the leg. We do similar stuff in other classes, but today we're going to be a little bit more traditional, you could say. So from this position, you're going to find any comfortable stretch, which means you might be able to have your forearms down. You might still be upright on your hands, anywhere that feels comfortable enough where you're in a stretch, but it's not your absolute deepest. It could be your absolute deepest eventually. As I said that, I was like, it could be your deepest. But okay, so here you are, you're hanging out, you're stretching. Begin to drive your right leg down into the mat. We've done this before in our half split, we've done this before in other places, but start to find maximum safe tension of driving everything down toward the ground. Driving your leg down, pressing down through your arms, holding here. Good. 3, 2, and 1. Now whatever position you're in, stay. So if your forearms are down, stay. If your hands are down, stay. Pretend like you're going to lift the right leg up. It should not actually lift if you're deep enough in the stretch. If it does lift, then you know you might be able to go deeper next time. So try to lift the leg up, contract as much as you can, holding here. 3, 2, 1. Now relax. See if you can get a little bit deeper. We're going to do that same course of events one more time. So if you feel like you can go deeper, you will. And just know that the deeper you go, the harder it might be to create that tension in your leg, but it doesn't mean you can't try. Okay, from here, in the next 10 seconds, find maximum safe tension of driving the leg down into the mat. Drive it down, drive everything down, pressing it as hard as you can, safely. Hold. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now pretend like you're going to lift it up. Push the arms down into the mat. Hold here. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1, release. Maybe see if you can stretch just a little bit deeper. Once you have found your new deepest stretch, just take note of how it feels and where your body went. Maybe you went a little deeper than you would have originally, maybe not. And then when you're ready, slowly, slowly start to make your way out. So that style of stretching where you alternate driving the leg down and then work on pretending like you're going to lift it up, that is essentially what is done in functional range conditioning with a few more fancy words attached. Let's switch it up. So left leg out straight, sole of the right foot in, finding your Janu Shirshasana or seated tree pose. Again, option to point or flex through the left leg. Grab your blocks if you'd like them and find a passive, relaxed stretch. Again, you might still have some tension in the leg, that's fine, but you're not pushing it too hard just yet because you know we have a lot of work to do here. Little less than 30 seconds left. Anything that feels good, if you want to walk the blocks forward, if you want to stretch the foot, curling the toes down, if you want to do a combination of the two, it's what I'm doing apparently. Ten seconds. Begin to prepare. So either forearms down if that's comfortable for you, or hands down in some way that's appropriate. And then begin to drive the leg down softly at first. And then in the next 10 seconds or so, start to find maximum safe tension, driving the leg down. Drive it down as hard as you can. Press down through the arms. Use your core. 3, 2, 1. Now try to lift the leg. Engaging the front side of the leg now. Drive down through the hands. Try to lift it. Hold. 3, 2, 1. Release. Find a new place. So you might be able to walk the arms further forward or maybe just flatten your back a little bit more. So finding a new place, that's your maximum safe stretch for us to now activate. All right, let's go. Begin to drive the leg down. In the next 10 seconds, creating maximum safe tension. Drive the leg down, lower your torso down. If you can, driving down through the hands, arms, hold. 3, 2, 1. Now try to lift. Give it all you've got. Pretend like you're going to lift that leg up, engaging the front side of the leg. Hold. 3, 2, 1. Relax and see if maybe you can go just a little bit deeper. Notice your new end range of motion. Should feel a little bit better than when we started. And if not, over time, it should get better and better. Or just more comfortable, even if the expression itself doesn't change. As you're ready, slowly ease your way out of that. Whew. Feeling good. You can take a second, move your legs side to side. If there's anything else you want to do, grab a sip of water, whatever you need. We've got a little bit more strengthening and a little bit more stretching to do. Okay. You can move one block off to the side, have another block handy, and make your way down onto your back. Unfortunately, we have a little bit more bridge pose work to do, but it will be over before you know it. So grab your block and place it on its smallest setting in between your thighs, and then close your legs as close as they need to be for the block. So between your feet, it's about a block width distance. From here, relax your arms down by your sides. Extend your right leg toward the ceiling, stutter, lower your leg down a little bit. So it's about at 45 degrees. I'm gonna do that part again. From here, extend your right leg at about 45 degrees, so your knees are still in one line. Press down through the left leg and see if you can start to lift your hips up and off the mat. You'll notice that the block wants to tilt to the left. Try to keep it parallel to the ceiling, or the top of the block parallel to the ceiling, and then lower the hips back down. I know this is hard. Let's do it a few more times. Press down and lift up, squeeze at the top, no back bend, and then lower back down. That's 2, let's do a few more. Up, down 3, we're going to 8. Up, down 4. Up, down 5. Up, down 6. Up, down 7. Last one, up and hold. Hold this position. 3, 2, 1. Lower down and plant your right foot on the mat. Okay, extend your left leg at about 45 degrees. You can point the foot. Try to keep that block flat toward the ceiling, and then lift the hips up. Might be a little easier on this leg, might be a little harder. Keep the block parallel, and then lower back down. 1, up, down 2, up, down 3, up, down 4, up, down 5, up, down 6, up, down 7, up, down 8, up and hold. Hold 3, 2, and 1. Slowly lower down and release. You can remove the block, place it off to the side, take a second, hug your knees into your chest. And then while we're here, let's just do a little figure 4. So cross the right ankle over the left thigh. You can hang out in this position, and then 2 options. Option 1, hug the leg in toward you if you want more of a stretch in that way. Option 2, turn it into a twist. Let everything roll over to the left side. Stamp your right foot down on the mat. I really like this one to get into the outer hip and side body. Holding here, I like to grab onto the right ankle with the left hand. Just gives a little bit more of an anchor. The right knee has a tendency to kind of roll down toward you. Try to push it away so it's reaching toward the ceiling. This is just an option. You can always be taking the figure 4 stretch. We'll all be here for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Rise back up, and let's swap it out. Right foot down, cross the left ankle over, flex through the foot. Either pull the thigh in or take it into the twist. Roll everything over to the right side. You can grab onto the left ankle with the right hand. Keep the left shoulder grounded. Try to keep the left knee pointing up toward the ceiling, and breathe into the sensation that you're feeling. Relax your shoulders, soften your face. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Rise back up. Release the left leg, hug the knees in one more time, and then either take it into reverse child's pose, just grabbing onto the shins. Knees are at about shoulder width or a little bit wider apart, or let's take it into a happy baby. Grabbing the inner or outer edges of the feet, pressing the feet up toward the ceiling, holding here. If you're feeling good and you want to try to straighten one leg at a time, and if you're feeling really good, maybe you want to try to straighten both legs. Keep trying to press the tailbone down toward the mat. It probably won't actually touch, but it's just that idea to really get this deep into the hamstrings. Holding here. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Release out of that, and let's take a gentle twist. Stacking the knees, let both knees fall to the right side. Left arm can reach out, right hand can come onto the legs. We won't be here super long. 3, 2, 1. Come back up through center, swap it out, both knees in, and then knees over to the left side. Right arm can reach out, left hand can come on top of the thighs if you'd like. Keep your right shoulder grounded, and hold for 3, 2, and 1. Bring the legs back up. If there are any other reclined stretches that you'd like to do, feel free to do them. Or if you'd like a Shavasana, the choice is yours. Could be nice just to take the feet out wide, knees in to touch, and take a few breaths in your fallen mountain. But otherwise, great job. You've made it through today's class.